Righteous Fire, my favorite skill. Every league I do something different with Righteous Fire. And this time, it is probably the most complicated Righteous Fire build I ever did. And it has a lot of drawbacks. So I will split this video into segments. Segments based on complexity and damage of this build. Timestamps and all the other info about this build will be in video description. But if you are a bit newer player, I would suggest you to watch all the video, because it will teach you what steps you need to take to boost your damage to the next level. Also, I should mention that there will be no tier 15, tier 16 maps in this video. Most likely I will do another video just to show the damage against endgame bosses, but I don't want to promise that. Oh, and in most clips you will see me having only 700,000 damage. For 1 million damage you only need to change 2 items, but I will talk about that later. So let's start with the simplest version of this build. Simplest but still not cheap. First I should explain why I picked Berserker. The main reason is I wanted the most damage. And because Berserker has aspect of Carnage, which gives 40% more damage, it is the highest damage multiplier. Another reason is Warbringer. Using Warcries heals you instantly for 25% of life and mana. And Warcry cooldowns is cut in half. So every 2 seconds you can heal yourself for 25% life, well, and mana, but you don't need mana. This node is similar to Guardian's node Time of Need, which is not instant, but it regenerates 30% of maximum life over 1 second. But it has, well, cooldown of 5 seconds. So in my opinion, Berserker has better heal. Now I'm actually gonna show passive skill tree, because it will be the same for all 3 different variations of this build. It is nothing special, just get life, regeneration, fire damage, javel slots, elemental overload, elemental equilibrium, and area nodes. Oh, and +1 chorus. Now the items required for this version, well, pretty usual. Calm's Heart, Rise of the Phoenix, Dorian's Catalyst, also I'm using Immortal Flesh Belt, 2 Opal Rings, Marble Amulet for more regeneration. By the way, you can use any other rings, but Opal Rings gives a lot of damage. Essence Crafted Helmet, which gives Socketed Gems 30% more elemental damage. Boots with Lab Enchantment to give more regeneration after being hit. All the gear should have enough resistances and of course a lot of life. Now let's talk about skill jumps and links. Righteous Fire socketed into Helmet, linked with increased burning damage, Elemental Focus, increased area of effect. Increased area of effect should be swapped with concentrated effect against bosses. Next, Orb of Storm, Curse on Hit, Elemental Weakness, and increased critical strike chance. This will also trigger Elemental Overload. Blasphemy linked with Flammability, of course Purity of Fire, also Arctic Armor, Stone Golem for regen, Val Lightning Trap for damage against bosses, and Enduring Cry, which will be your big heal. Since you will be reserving most of your mana, you need to link Stone Golem and Enduring Cry with Blood Magic. This version of the build can do most map mods, and with all the buffs and shocks and stuff will have around 380,000 DPS. And the playstyle is very simple. Drop Orb of Storms to trigger Elemental Overload and just fly through monsters as fast as you can. You will only be stopping for 1 second to drop another Orb of Storms against some rare monsters. But other than that, you will not need to stop at all. And before you go into boss room, just swap increased area of effect with concentrated effect gem. Then drop Val Lightning Trap, Orb of Storm on boss and just run in circles waiting for you to die. Keep casting Enduring Cry to heal yourself and to generate endurance charges. And that's all for this simplest version. Now let's go into 700,000 DPS version. This version is a lot harder to manage. Passive skill tree is the same and most items except 2 are also the same. Now I'm using Dual Dyadus. Why? Because enemies killed by you take 100% increased burning damage and you have 2 of these. Do not confuse this with regular increased burning damage. Monsters take increased damage is a lot higher multiplier. It's just how the game wording is. So the tricky part is chilling enemies. And get this, you must chill the enemies. That means Arctic Armor, Vortex, Arctic Breath, these do not trigger this effect. There is of course the Pandemonious Amulet, but you must be hit to chill the enemies for 1 second, so it is not reliable. So the only way to chill bosses is you need to hit bosses with Dyadus Axe in offhand. And here comes many problems. First of all, your accuracy. Normally I would only have 54% accuracy, which is terrible. Aha, Resolute technique you would say. No, you cannot use that, because you would lose Elemental Overload. If you cannot crit, you cannot get Elemental Overload, which gives 40% more damage. So at first I thought I could use Vigilant Strike, because that skill cannot be evaded, so I don't need accuracy. And since I constantly use Enduring Cry to generate endurance charges, I could keep using Vigilant Strike without any cooldown. But nope, there's another problem with that. When dual wielding, Vigilant Strike will randomly choose one weapon to attack with. So that is a big problem because you don't want to be hitting many hits to finally hit with offhand and chill enemy. So I decided to try and use Cleave with additional accuracy jump. Cleave also has Overwhelming Odds Threshold Jewel, which basically increases your AoE and gives you Fortify. And with that I have around 84% accuracy, which is reasonable. But there's also a problem with that. Cleave hits with both weapons at once. The problem is Elemental Equilibrium. Once you hit enemies with Cleave, it will increase their fire resistances, because your Cleave also has fire damage. So to solve that, you also need to drop Orb of Storms against enemies that you are hitting with Cleave. But wait, there's more problems. Remember that chill only lasts 1 second, so you will never have max damage all the time. So there will always be delay before you can do highest damage you can do. Also, few changes to the skills and links. You will not be able to sustain Righteous Fire. That's why you will need to use Vitality Aura. And that means no Blasphemy and Flammability. So now I'm using Orb of Storms, Curse on Hit, Flammability and Elemental Weakness. Cleave linked with additional accuracy and increased critical strike chance. Now, I'm still not quite sure about this Cleave setup, but you don't need multi-strike. If you have multi-strike, you will mess up Elemental Equilibrium, and increased critical strikes are just to increase critical strikes to trigger Elemental Overload. I simply don't have enough sockets to get everything what I need, so I'm not even using Lightning Warp or Flame Dash, because I need that slot for Wild Lightning Trap. Also I need slot for Arctic Armor, Stone Golem, and Enduring Cry also must be linked with Blood Magic. I mean only Enduring Cry and Stone Golem, because they cost too much mana, and almost all my mana is reserved. So now I have around 700,000 DPS. Mapping is dangerous and the clear speed is not as good as the first version. You also have Fortify, which helps a lot against some, well, more dangerous hits like porcupines. But there are more map mods that you cannot do. Vulnerability, less regen, no regen, minus max all resistance. Any degen on you will be very dangerous. Since you rely on chill, there are few bosses and even map mods that would totally mess this build. So with great power comes great drawbacks. Usually. Sometimes. And finally, let's move into 1 million DPS version. For that, all you need to do is get Witchfire Brew Flask and Windscreen Boots, and few more levels to get more damage. Oh, and also you need Sulfur Flask. It gives 40% increased damage and drops concentrated ground. But sadly I'm not going to show this, well, the damage in action. First of all, it requires too much micromanaging. Also I don't have lab enchantments on my boots, and I wouldn't have Freeze Remove Flask. And also I'm very bored of PoE right now. But I really wanted to make this cool build video. So that is all for this build. All the stuff will be in video description. I forgot to mention that in 3.0, Righteous Fire builds might be a lot stronger and also cheaper. It will be easier to get life on all armor pieces, and also additional physical damage reduction. Also increased burning damage gem will be more burning damage. If I get access to 3.0 beta, I will definitely test a lot of damage over time changes. Now, for next video, I don't really want to do PoE videos right now. The special video is still being made, but it will take a lot more time. Actually, I have been playing Grim Dawn, so maybe I'll do a video about that, but I'm completely noob. One thing I really wanted to talk and kept delaying was a topic about dreams. Yep, so random. And I have a lot of experience with dreams, and not because I'm sleeping every day, but well, there's a lot of magic and mystery in them, and I have experienced many bizarre things in dreams. So if you are curious about that, don't miss it. So that's all for now. Thank you for watching and see you soon.